Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tado jayamudire nashtaprayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavadir uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati nishtute mukam karoti vachalam pangon lankete kirit yat kripatamaham vande shri gurota dhiradayam paramanandam madhavam shri chaitanya ishvara namo vishnu padaya krishna prishtaya bhudale srimade bhakti vedanta swami nindinamine namaste saraswate deve gauravani prajarine nirvishesha shunyavadi pashyati deshadharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Will continue. So please chant the sloka for me. Imam Tvam Atitishtasva
Imam Tvam Atitishtasva
Purim Navamukhim Vipo
Navamukhim Vibho
Mayopanitan Grihanana Kama Mogan Shatam Samaha Imam Tvam Atitishtasva Purim Navamukhim Vipo Mayopanitan Grihanana Kama Mogan Shatam Samaha. Synonyms: Imam, this; Tvam, your good self; Atitishtasva, just remain; Purim, in the city; Navamukhim, with 9 gates; Vipo, O my lord; Maya, by me; Upanitan, arranged; Grihanana, taking; Kama Bhogan, the materials for sense gratification; Shatam, 100; Samaha, years. Translation: My dear lord, I have just arranged the city of 9 gates for you, so that you can have all kinds of sense gratification. You may live here for 100 years, and everything for your sense gratification will be supplied. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Papat Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam Dara Samprapti Hetava. The wife is the cause of all kinds of success in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately salvation. When one accepts a wife, it is to be understood that he is being helped in his progressive march toward liberation. In the beginning of life, a person is trained as a brahmachari and is then allowed to marry a suitable girl and become a householder. If one is thoroughly trained in household life, he finds all facilities for human life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Everything is there if it is executed according to regulative principles. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Imam Tvam Aditishtasva Purim Navamukhim Vipo Mayopanitam Grihanana Kama Bhogan Satam Samaha. Translation: My dear Lord, I have just arranged the city of 9 gates for you, so that you can have all kinds of sense that you live here for 100 years, and everything for your sense gratification will be supplied. Hare Krishna. So here in this verse 37, it's saying that you may live here, right? That means in the city of 9 gates for 100 years, and I will arrange everything for your sense gratification. So here in the Prabhupada mentions about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? So these 4 things, actually these 4 things, that's what this karmi people are behind all these things, right? They just want success in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately salvation. But a devotee rejects all these things, right? Even moksha, a devotee doesn't want even moksha, because he's happy in whatever form of life he is in. So doing devotional service. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also prayed the same thing, no? Which was that verse? That he don't want moksha. So by saying my Janmani Janmaneshware, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is rejecting liberation, right? He's like, I don't even want moksha. I want Janmani. Like I want to take rebirth again and again, but Bhavatar Bhakti Rahedu Kitoi. I just wanted devotional service. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is already liberated. No, he's Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan. Now, why is he chanting like Mama Janmani Janmaneshware? Like, why is he rejecting liberation? He's already liberated.
He's in the form of a bhakta, devotee.
He's in a form of a devotee. So Still he's transcendental.
He wants to
He's teaching us.
by telling.
He's teaching us. Yeah,
He
he's
wa-
giving the instruction. It's called Shishta Ashtaka. Right? Shiksha Ashtaka. Shiksha Ashtaka means he's giving Shiksha. Right? Yes, he came in a form of a devotee and he's showing us an example that how a devotee should pray. On the sense is Shiksha Ashtaka. He's giving Shiksha or instructions to us that we should pray like that. It's not Krishna is praying like that, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us an example that this is how we should pray, that we don't even want moksha, right? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So it is said these four things. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 7th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 52 also says about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So here it is said, Dharmam, Artham, cha, Kamam, cha, Nitara, Chalo, Purvaha, Prahradhyayo chatu rajan Rashrita Vantayacha. So in the purport we can see here, like here, this is about Sanga and Amarka teaching Prahlad Maharaj. No? So what did they teach? They teached all mundane religion, economic development and sense gratification. So here Prabhupada says this Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Right? And ultimately liberation. This is what they want. Human society follow the process of religion to advance so that they want to have moksha. But then liberation from the material bondage is easier to attain. That's the Vedic process. But when one is above dharma, artha, kama, moksha, then one becomes a devotee. Because a devotee doesn't want anything. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadana anukulena krishna shrilam bhakti uttamara anya abhilashita shunya. He doesn't have any material desires. So this artha means money, kama, that is sense gratification. All this is a material platform. But when it's above the stages of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, then he becomes a devotee, the real devotee. I don't mean Kanishta here. It's like an Uttama Adhikari, right? So he's above the platform of dharma, artha, and kama and moksha. So these four things, these are actually called as these are in the Madhya Leela, it is said Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are called the Chatur Varga. Okay, these are the Chatur Varga. Prabhupada explains in the purport that Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are the Chatur Varga. So here it is said about Mukti, right? Those who aspire for Mukti or Moksha, they introduce themselves as the Vaidantikas and are equal to those groups aspiring to improve religion, dharma, economic development, artha, and sense gratification as kama. So these four things actually, it binds you into this material world. Actually, we should go above that because devotional service, the rasa or the taste of chanting the holy name or the devotional service is much, much greater than moksha, right? So just getting moksha is not our goal. Initially, yes, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we're like, okay, we just want moksha. But a pure devotee is already liberated, no? A pure devotee is already liberated. What is an example you can give of a pure devotee? Any analogy Prabhupada quotes? A famous analogy to show that a pure devotee lives in this material world, in this material body, but still is already liberated. Jivan muktasa uchyate. Right? He's already liberated. Any example you remember? No? Like what? Compared to what? Okay, it is said, Iharayasya harirdasya karmana manasa gira nikileshu api avasteshu jivan muktasa uchyate. Rupa Goswami says, somebody who have dedicated his words, mind and thoughts, everything in Krishna is already a liberated person, even though is in the material world, in the material body.
Prabhupada himself is the example. Mataji.
Example of?
Prabhupada himself is the example.
No, analogy. I mean analogy. Any comparison. Example, yes, Prabhupada, all the pure devotees are liberated souls. Any example of any analogies? Like what is it compared to? Like a dry coconut. Na? Dry coconut. So what's the specialty of a dry coconut? The dry coconut is within the shell, but it's not attached to the shell. Patma patram evamsha. You can see how the lotus leaf with the water, it's not attached to it. Even though in this material world, means even though the coconut is inside the shell, the dry ones, okay, you just break the shell, it just comes out. It's not, you can, when you shake it, no, it just, there is no water inside and it like a hard sound comes. That means it's a dry coconut. So it's matured, okay. So what happens? We are all in that stage. We are all now like very fresh into Krishna consciousness, very new and neophytes. But as it takes time, no? Dry coconut just doesn't come just like that. It takes a lot of time. It means the coconut should stay inside the shell for a long time. Similarly, we should stay in Krishna consciousness, and that maturity stage will come. So Krishna consciousness is like taking bath. One person have just entered into the bathroom, means just started chanting. Another person is on the process of cleansing. Another person have already taken bath, in the sense purified. So we are all in the process of purification in different stages. In one life, we would have just started our Krishna consciousness. In the second life, we continue. And then the process. And finally, it comes out clean or purified, right? So here it is said in the purport also, Prabhupada mentions that we should not become like an animal. So we should here accepting a wife is basically for liberation, progressive march towards liberation. That means it's a grihastha ashrama. Okay, what is the opposite of grihastha ashram? What's the opposite?
Grihamedi.
Grihamedi. So Grihamedi means somebody who's just for working for sense gratification, nothing else, right? So here it is said that a household life, in the sense of grihastha ashrama, right? If one is thoroughly trained in the household life, then he'll find all the facilities for actually to execute the regulative principles. This eating, sleeping, mating, defending, right? It's common in for whom? It's common in
Animal life also.
animal life also. So in fact, they do better than us, no? Okay, eating. What about a hog? It eats everything and anything, right? It is all the eating facilities are available so much. Sleeping. What about some animals who goes like hibernation for 6 months? They sleep. Mating. Definitely, it seems a housefly. It's like so many times a day. So, and defending, definitely they have very nice defense mechanism. So Prabhupada mentions aharam nidra payamaitunam cha samane edat pashupir naranam dharmo hitesho atiko vishesho dharme nihina pashubir samana. So here Prabhupada quotes here, aharam nidra bhaya maidunam cha. It's from a Veda. It says, samaneta pashubir naran. So ahara nidra bhaya maidunam. Eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, it's samanya. It's equal. For in case of a pashu and a nara, in the sense animal and man. Pashu here doesn't mean only cow, animal. Dharmo hitesho adhikove. What is that which differentiates us from them? Dharma. Right? Dharma nihina pashubir sa. If we don't have the follow dharma, we are like animal. So eating, sleeping, sex, and defense. These are the 4 principles common to both human beings and animal. The distinction between human life and animal life is that a man can search after God, but an animal cannot. That's the difference. Therefore, a man without that urge of searching after God is no better than an animal. So we were all like polished animal, na? Polished animal, 2-legged animals, it is said, before coming to Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada says that this is what. So what makes us differ from them is dharma. So dharma, right? It's the basic quality of a human, but you should go beyond it. Beyond that, then only we become a devotee. So dharman tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is not just made by us. It's made by the Lord. It's the law, the rule of the law, Lord, right? So real religious principle are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what should be our dharma? Save pumsa paro dharmo yado bhaktir adokshaje. Ahriduki apradihata ye atma suprasitati. Then only your soul becomes satisfied when you do dharma or the real religious principles. Okay. So here it is said that you accept a wife. So here Prabhupada mentions that when one accepts a wife, it's understood that it is help in the progressing towards liberation. This is about grihasthas, grihasthashram, not about grihamedi. The grihamedi wife is always behind sense gratification. She wants that, this, so many things. But then Krishna conscious devotee, in the sense somebody who's a grihastha, it's very easy to convert your husband to Krishna consciousness if a wife is a devotee. Why? Because she's cooking. No, she can offer to the Lord. Her consciousness is so good. She chants for the husband, and she gives Krishna prasad to the whole family, her children, and she chant, and also the Bhagavatam and Bhagavatam. She's very religious. In that way, a wife will help the husband towards the progressive march towards liberation. Vice versa also, definitely. So here I think of a nice example of Jayadev Goswami, right? So anyone knows his wife's name, Jayadev Goswami, who wrote Gita Govinda and the Shavata.
Padmavati, Mataji.
Padmavati, right? So their Pushpa Samadhi is in Vrindavan. If you can go to Radha Damodar temple, where Srila Prabhupada used to stay, and you do parikrama around the Radha Damodar temple, there is something called the Pushpa Samadhi of Jayadev Goswami and Padmavati. And it is said, like, now we have husband, so many of us have husband and wife. Once we are liberated, There's no husband and wife in the spiritual world. Everyone is like eternal servants. But it is said Jayadeva Goswami and Padmavati are eternally serving Krishna as husband and wife. So Jayadeva Goswami was in Jagannath Puri and he wanted to become a nice brahmachari. So brahmachari ashram, they are trained, first 25 years of their life, so much. And then if they want, they can accept a wife and go to grihastha or they can remain Naishti brahmachari. It's up to them. There's given an option. And sometimes when brahmacharis get married, everybody's like, what, he's doing some sin. No, he is helping another person to progress towards liberation or in the process of bhakti, right? Otherwise, what will the Matajis do? So because they need care and protection, and Prabhupada always encouraged that a Vedic type of living at grihastha ashram. And so he wanted to be a brahmachari. So he's so austere that he don't even have a plate for himself. If you have a plate, you're so attached to it and all. So he digs the mud in Jagannath Puri, puts the prasadam inside that and eats. Sometimes dogs come and eat. He don't bother that. He was so austere. So he used to pray to Jagannath Swami that I just want to remain as a brahmachari. The same time when he was praying, there was another person in front of him who was Padmavati's father. And she got that name because they didn't have a child and they offered Padma, in the sense lotus, to Jagannath and then got this girl. So they prayed that when she become matured, she'll be given as a dasi to Jagannath Puri. Those days, there are so many girls and boys who serve in the temple. So the parents prayed. So when she was matured, Padmavati's father was praying to Jagannath Swami that I'm going to leave my daughter here. So Jagannath Swami, Krishna is like, no. He came in his dream and said, he immediately gave him a message that you turn back and see there is somebody called Jayadev Goswami behind you. You give your daughter to her. When Padmavati's father went and dropped her with Jayadev Goswami is like, I want to be a brahmachari. I want to be a Naishti brahmachari. I don't want to accept a wife. Then Padmavati's father is like, you have to accept because this is Jagannath's order and you can't reject it. Still, he was not happy. Okay, he was not happy. Yes, there are so many examples who helped their husbands to progress. So he was not happy. So then what happened? He wanted to escape from there. So night they were sleeping in Jagannath Puri. He got up early so that he thought of getting up early so that he can leave her and go. Because sometimes when the parents become old, especially mothers become old and they don't want to, kids don't want to take care of them. They either leave them to old age homes, and old age homes, they need to pay. So what do? They go to some Tirthasthan like Vrindavan, Mayapur with so much crowd, and they drop their mothers there. And they just say, I'll come now, I'll get you something. And then they escape. Now, like that, so many Matajis, if you go to Parikram Marg in Vrindavan, you can see so many Matas, especially widows, once their husband dies, the children drop them in Vrindavan. One way good for them because they can do a lot of bhajan there, and there are people grihasthas who supply prasadam for them every day. So, but then they don't take care of them. So Jayadev Goswami thought, I'll just neglect Padmavati and run off from here. But what happened? Jagannath made him go deep sleep and came in his dream and said, I want you to accept Padmavati as your wife. It's good for you. It will help you to progress. So we should never see our spouse, husband or wife as an obstacle in the path of bhakti. Now, some Matajis complain to me, my husband is not allowing me to chant. He's taking non-veg. He's like that. He's like this. No, the real success is to change him to Krishna conscious devotee. What we can do to help him to progress, or the vice versa, how a husband can help his wife. Wife is not following the regulative principle. She still eats onion, garlic. But the way she sees you, the change in your character and everything, she'll start appreciating Krishna consciousness. And slowly they'll take up Krishna consciousness, right? You pray, you chant, especially if the wife or husband is not Krishna conscious, you can chant one round for that particular person every day. And you keep requesting Krishna, please give her Krishna consciousness. You tell Prabhupada, please show your mercy on her or him. And Prabhupada will definitely help. So finally he's overslept. And the next day he got up and he's like, oh, Jagannath told me to accept her as a wife. And from that day onwards, they both were so great devotees. They started worshipping Radha Madhav and started living their life in such a way. So one day it so happened, once you're getting married, you need to have a house to stay. So Jayadev Goswami was building the house or having this hut with all the parched leaves and all. So he was telling the wife to give all the leaves. So he was decorating the house. And then suddenly when he reached the top of the house, he saw inside Padmavati was cooking prasadam. So he's like, who was helping me? It was Madhavi, it was Krishna himself who came and helped. There's so many instances where Jayadeva Goswami even wanted to write Gita Govinda, and he shared only with his wife. Only wife and he knows the Gita Govinda. So when he was about to write Smaragarala Kandanam, Mama Shirasi Mandanam, Dehi Pada Pallavamudharam Shri Radhe, Priye Charushile. So that's the line which he wanted to write, and he cut it. He was like, no, I'm not going to write. Because it's like Krishna taking the dust of the lotus feet of Radharani. No, it can't happen. When he went to take bath, Padmavati is so chaste wife, austere wife, that she was even, she'll wait for the husband to have prasadam, and then only she'll have every day. But Jagannath came in the form of her husband and came and ate prasadam with her, cooked by her, and then went and added this line in the Gita Govinda. When original Jayadeva Goswami came back after a bath, he saw Padma prasadam. He's like, how can you have prasadam before me? Like, no, you already had it, no? And you came and you wrote some verse in the Gita Govinda. Then Jayadeva Goswami understood, it's not me, it's Krishna himself. And when he opened the book, there was this verse written. So he fell at his wife's feet, Padmavati's feet, and praising her that you are an actual pure devotee. Because Krishna gave darshan to you, I didn't get darshan. No, so it's always like the wife is not considered to be a burden. She always help in your progress towards liberation, right? So even Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj's wife, Vindhyavali. Yeah, so she also, when Bali Maharaj gave the two, asked for the, Vamana Deva asked for 3 feet of land. And then he was kind of tied up, and she went and asked. She was very intelligent. She's like, everything belongs to Krishna, right? Why don't you give yourself? Why don't you surrender yourself? So wife gave an intelligent advice. And who's this? Anjali Mataji says, yes, Archie, helping Prithu Maharaj in the spiritual path. So definitely, this is how wife can be a help in the spiritual path or liberation. You have a big stone and you need to push it and keep in the top of the hill. If you can't do it alone, why don't you take help from someone? But both should be Krishna conscious. Krishna should be in the center. Then the whole family will change. But here, Puranjani and Puranjana is a particular sense gratification, just perfect karmis who just want sense gratification, right? Nothing else they are thinking about. What is the meaning of Hiranyaksha? Hiranyaksha means what? Or Hiranyakashipu. What do you mean by Hiranyakashipu?
Gold, complete gold.
Gold and
Hiranya is gold and Kashipu is bed.
yeah. Hiranya is gold and Hiranyakashipu means bed. So somebody who wants so much money, the gold means so much money, and bed, sense gratification. Hiranya Aksha means Aksha. Hiranya is gold. Aksha means
Growing more,
Eyes.
becoming more.
eyes. No, not more. Eyes. That means he see everywhere gold, in the sense everything for sense gratification. Gold in the sense everything for sense gratification. But a pure devotee sees everything for Krishna. He sees nice flowers. He's like, how can I offer to Krishna? Nice fruits. Oh, let me offer to Krishna. Anything in that matter. He even Prabhupada says, if a man sees a woman, he thinks like, oh, she's a gopi of Krishna, or she's a dasi, and we can include her in Krishna's service. So everything is seen by a devotee as Krishna's property or Krishna's. And the real husband of all the Matajis is Krishna only, no? Real husband. So the householder means it's a grihastha ashrama. So the take-home lesson today is we should do the real dharma. And Bhagavatam also says, dharma prochita kaitavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Right? Nirmatsaranam. It is for non-envious people. Dharma has to be done for nirmatsaranam sata, non-envious people. And this is what is recommended in Kali Yuga, that Hare Nama Iva Kevalam, right? So you can reject all the religious activities, but the Bhagavad Puran has to be taken care, because dharma resided in Bhagavatam. Right? At the end, when Krishna is about to leave, there were like 6 questions asked by the sages in the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. What are the 6 questions? Anyone know? 6 questions by the sages. That's where Bhagavatam starts.
What is good for all humanity?
What is good for all
Humanity. Second is the reason for the appearance of Krishna.
Okay, why did Krishna appear?
Third is Purushavatar, Leelavatar, and then the
Purushavatar, Leelavatar.
And then when the Krishna disappears, where does the religion take shelter?
Yes, there's one more. You missed one more. Who else now? Leena Mataji, Mallika Mataji.
It's what a person has to do when he is approaching the death, near death.
No, that's not a question by the sage.
About the birth of Parikshit Maharaj.
No,
Essence
that's
of
all
the scripture.
related, but the real questions.
Essence of the scripture.
Essence of the scriptures. Very good. So these are the 6 questions. Yes, as you said, the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, all the death and everything, all that is all. Where what should we do at the time of death? These are all supplementary questions. I mean, as the questions developed, and then Parikshit Maharaj keeps on asking. This is by Parikshit Maharaj. No, Parikshit Maharaj is asking all that. But the sages in Naimisharanya, initially the 6 questions on which Bhagavad Puran developed. The first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is questions by the sages, and 6 questions were asked by the sages in Naimisharanya to Sudha Goswami. First is, what is good for all the mankind? What is good? What is the best thing for everyone in the society? Second is, what is the essence of all the Vedic literatures? What's the essence of all the Vedics? The third is, why did Krishna appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva? Why did he appear? Why did Krishna come in that human form? Fourth is the Leela avatars of the Lord. Fifth is the Guna avatar of the Lord. And sixth, the last one, or the most important is, where did religion take shelter, dharma take shelter once Krishna ended his pastime and left to his dham? So where did it take shelter? Bhagavad Puran, right? It's a Bhagavatam. It is. And so this Bhagavad Purana is so beautiful. This mentions here that this beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by Vyasadeva in its maturity stage is sufficient in itself for God realization. So what should we do? What's the need of any other scripture? Kim vai parai rishvare. What is the need of any other scriptures? As soon as one attentively and submissively hear the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Okay. People. And what happens as soon as you hear Bhagavata Srimad Bhagavate Pramanamamalam Vaishnavanam Priyam, yet Vaishnavanam Priyam. So it is Pramanamalam. It's the spotless Puranamamalam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions. And as soon as one hear it attentively, submissively, then Krishna, or the real knowledge of the Supreme Lord, is established within the heart. So Dharma took shelter of Bhagavata. Why are we not taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay. So today the essence of today's take-home lesson is, let's make Srimad Bhagavatam the goal of our life, or your main aim should be like to read Srimad Bhagavatam, to understand our relationship with Krishna, and so that we can advance in devotional service. So these 6 questions by the sages, and slowly it develops. But the main thing is to know that Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna, right? The first 2 cantos are the lotus feet of the Lord. So when you have Srimad Bhagavatam at home, why don't you serve them? Serve Srimad Bhagavatam. So keep reading Srimad Bhagavatam. 1 sloka per day will not help you. Yesterday also I was mentioning 41 pages a day. Then you can finish Bhagavatam in 1 year. There is 18,000 slokas. Will we finish it in this life? Those who don't have Srimad Bhagavatam set, better please get it, because it is said, if you have the Bhagavatam set, you don't even read it, still Krishna is at your home. And next life, you'll be born in a family which already have Bhagavatam set. Unless you have to start. So better get all these sets, because it's Swayam Bhagavan. It's Radha Krishna Swarupa it is. And it is also said that Tamalavarnam Suvidavarudam Tamadidevam Karunanidanam Tamalavarnam Suhitavajoram Apara Samsara Samudra Sedhum Vajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. So Bhagavad will help us to cross this material ocean of existence. And Grihastha Ashram means Krishna is in the center, Srimad Bhagavatam is in the center. Any house where husband and wife together discuss Bhagavatam or read Bhagavatam, definitely they're going to achieve success together. At least if you hear Bhagavatam, you go and tell to your spouse, or you reproduce it. On the sense, Kirtanam you can do once after Shravana. Okay, so always take advantage. Prabhupada says, take advantage of these books. It's Prabhupada's life. So Prabhupada has given everything to us. No? So let's take advantage. Not only chanting, reading, because it's Purushottam month. Those who have not started Bhagavatam, please start. And those who have wanted to apply initiation, you should finish first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Namanishta Prabhu is like, at least you finish Bhagavatam first canto and then apply for initiation. Then you're ready. You're ready for taking shelter of the Guru. Hare Krishna, any questions, anything, any comments, anything to add? something to add? Tomorrow, mostly, Mataji will join us. I think she's back. I'll check with her and let you know. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, no more questions. Oh, today is Namanishta Prabhu's father, Gauri Sham Prabhu's birthday. So we have a feast in the temple. We can all wish him, pray for his good health so that he do a lot of devotional service. Prabhuji is taking 2 Bhagavatam class, I heard, morning and evening. So much service he's doing. And definitely he gave the great devotee Namanishta Prabhu to all of us. So we pray for his good health. Let's all chant Hare Krishna for Gauri Sham Prabhu's good health. Okay, once. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mancha Kalpadaru, Besha Kripasandre, Vachapatitana Pavaniba, Vaishnavi, Manaman Puri Vaishnaviki, Jai Shrapaparti, Jai Grandara, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you for